Hi, this is Derek with Boise Cylinder Head Services. Today we're going to start a rebuild on a 81 Toyota Starlet. It's a 1.3 liter cylinder head. Has really tiny valves, ports, combustion chambers. This is the spring side, and it's pretty nasty. This is the tiny little combustion chamber it got. So this thing's super itty bitty. And then here we got our exhaust and intake ports. I mean, they're twice the size of my finger. That's crazy tiny for a little car. But this car is a pretty tiny little thing. So what we're doing with this one, the customer thinks that they have bent valves, and I don't see any obvious contact on the face of the valves here. Usually you see like a little cleaned up spot where it contacted the piston, and I'm not seeing that. So we're going to tear it apart, grind the valves, and see how many valves are savable. Check the guides and come up with an estimate for what it's going to take to repair this thing. He did bring in a secondary head so that we could potentially harvest some of the parts from here if need be. This one's seen some better days. I got some coolant or water in the combustion chamber there and rusted out. Anyways, this one isn't a very good cylinder head to rebuild. At least that's what we're being told. This is the better shape one here. So I'm just going to pull the valves and springs and keepers out of this thing, put it in a basket, get it cleaned up, glass bead the valves, grind it, and then we'll be able to finish our estimate. So I'm going to take it over to our machine here, and we're going to pop these loose. Grab a basket too. So this is a 81. They're getting rarer and rarer. I probably rebuilt one of these quite some time ago, but it has definitely been a while. Don't really see these cars on the road anymore, so this is probably somebody who's a big fan of this vehicle and doing some sort of a restoration job on it. On this older stuff, you know, you got to be aware of cracks and issues there. A little keeper just shot out of there. Let's see. Got it. It's got some, it didn't change their oil very much in this thing. You can see the grease and the grime there build up. You know, that's a definite sign that they weren't taking care of the vehicle all that much. But that's all right, because we can rebuild this thing and make it run like new. We're going to try and do a full rebuild on this, videos on this cylinder head here. And that'll consist of us estimating it out, finding out what it needs to be rebuilt, and then going through each step of rebuilding this thing. There's a good chance that it might require guides. We'll check that out in this video. We can just kind of wiggle a valve in the guide and see what kind of clearance it has. Usually there's a specific spec of clearance that it has that we have to be within, or else we're pushing, getting a burnt valve or something like that if we don't address that loose guide issue. Yeah, some of these valves are sticking. It's probably seen some water sitting in the combustion chamber, coolant, or the exhaust or intake ports that sunk into the guide and kind of locked up the valve. Sometimes that's an issue where we have to change out the guide just because of how much corrosion has happened on this older stuff. But we'll find out here shortly. Alrighty, now that we got that out, we can take this head back over to our bench there and take a look and see the valve to seat contact area, see what kind of wear this thing has. We're always keeping our eye out for cracks and stuff like that, and any kind of external damage that might tell us that this head's too far worn or broken to be reconditioned. I just pulled the springs out and set them in order there. Now we're going to check the seat contact. And you can see right there, it's pretty blackened. I mean, that means it's seen some miles. You know, it's starting to lose compression there. It's not sealing like it should. And you can also see it on the seat here. We got some good pits that over time, you know, it just creates little hot spots and pits that slowly gets rid of the sealing surface on both the valve and the seat. And that's why it needs reconditioned. It starts getting low compression, stuff like that. That requires it to be rebuilt in order to solve that issue. Some of these valves are really locked in here. I'm hitting this one. It's not moving at all. That's destined to be an issue. All right. That's all we got on this thing. We're going to grind the valves and see what it's going to take to rebuild it. Thank you for watching. Remember, it's all in your head.